Hi, we're talking to Sean Davison today, Chief Information Security Analyst at Great West Financial in Denver, Colorado. Thanks for joining us today, Sean.
Thank you.
We're going to go through a couple questions and try to get a better understanding of how Sean uses MetricStream, as well as a little bit more about his program at Great West Financial. So thanks for coming today.
Sure.
Just to start out, tell us a little bit about the risk program that you have going on in terms of IT at Great West.
Currently, our risk program focuses solely on IT, data and information assets. We're a financial services company, so we obviously have a lot of confidential information that we have to keep protected. We use MetricStream currently in an IT risk assessment function. We also have a body of information security policies that we store on there so we can have people attest to compliance with them on an annual basis, as well as just quickly reference them whenever they are unsure of something.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about how you're using MetricStream's solution in your IT risk area?
Yeah, so we do an annual systems risk assessment, which kind of embodies 15 different process areas which have risks and controls tied to them. So that kind of gives our executive board members visibility into our risk posture overall as an organization, as well as certain areas that we need to work on. We're currently rolling out a security threat and vulnerability module, which will allow us to aggregate network security scans, scanning of machines, scanning of servers, and kind of aggregate that data into an ingestible format so we can present that to also board members.
And you're using this for the entire organization, correct?
Yes.
Great. As far as some of your IT goals and priorities, can you share some of those?
I'd say currently our goals and priorities, we recently acquired a big branch of the retirement services industry, 401k, record-keeping stuff from one of our competitors. And we went from basically what was a boutique to a department store. So we became the second largest record keeper in the country. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. So our goals, I'd say at this point, are to come up with processes that are bigger, better, faster, stronger, that kind of thing. Repeatable processes that are consistent, that take the subjectivity out of it and make an objective, repeatable way of rating risk.
Interesting. Now, I know what we did is one of the specialities that we did to your policy product was to expand it so all 6,000 plus employees and contract workers could use that for attestations.
Correct.
And it was a special type of project that we put together for you. And maybe you can expand a little bit about how we created that and how it's going to be used by your employee base.
So as I was mentioning initially, all of our policies are stored on MetricStream. We have this directory on our intranet where a user can click on a directory that I've created, and that is a hyperlink that takes them directly into MetricStream so they can search the content or the titles of the entire body of policies and quickly find what they're looking for. Say they want to find policies surrounding USB or encryption, they can just search whether that's in the title or whether that's in the actual content of the policy. That's actually been one of the best valuable things that we've gotten out of MetricStream thus far.
That's great. It's important to have those types of configurable and flexibility in the products to do things like that.
I agree.
As far as IT GRC awareness, you've been in the industry for many years, and you've previously did IT GRC at other firms. Mm-hmm. How would you equate the awareness that from your experience at other firms, and how have you used that to build your program or build the awareness at Great West?
The way I like to look at it is, so we have people on our team that are certified ethical hackers. So that's kind of it's a way we like to approach how we like to build our program, by seeing it from the side of a malicious actor or a hacker. So I've used a lot of my experience thwarting those kinds of like DDoS attacks or cross-site scripting or SQL injection, things like that. And I try to take it from someone who would be maliciously using those kind of tactics to build safeguards and controls in place to protect against that kind of thing happening. So I guess that's how I would answer that question.
And does that all emanate from your area in the security analyst in your role?
Yeah. So I work in a group called the Information Security Office, led by our Chief Information Security Officer. All of it focuses around that.
Okay, which kind of dovetails into my next question in terms of IT compliance and using UCF. Maybe you can expand a little bit about the IT compliance and the framework that you have built along with UCF.
So being a 401k record keeper, we have many contractual obligations to uphold to our clients, a lot of which deal with regulatory frameworks. So when we have someone like a client come in and audit us and want to see how our program is set up, what kind of things we map to, one of the coolest things about MetricStream has been the API connectivity with UCF. And UCF has every regulatory framework built into it. So you can map those controls from the UCF over into MetricStream and tie them directly to policies. So we can say, policy 181 maps directly to ISO 27001 and 27002. Where policy 170 maps to NIST 853, that kind of thing. So that's been another one of the most valuable pieces of MetricStream thus far.
And how are you using that as a reporting function within the organization?
We're still kind of rolling that out. The workflows on that are still in design and not fully implemented, but the way they will be used is also through that risk assessment function I was telling you about on an annual basis. So those controls can serve as, ways of mitigating some of the risks that we've already identified.
And that's a good way to do things like that. There's a lot of firms that do that on paper right now, but by having the solution, you're able to use that framework and then build it and make it work from an automated state.
Absolutely.
All right, good. And as far as IT policy, is that a little bit also something that you created within the organization and now you're trying to adhere it to the solution?
Those policies were already created. We just kind of had them stored in a less organized way. I wouldn't say disorganized, but they were locally stored on our intranet, and you could not search and drill down in the same ways that you can with MetricStream.
And when you say search and drill down, you get into the fine details in terms of getting as much information out of it as possible.
So not only do we have policies, but stemming from that, on a subcategory level, we have standards under that and then procedures under that. So it gets more granular as you go down as far as prescriptive, what you need to be following, that kind of thing.
And is there, these policies, they're attested to by people in your area, people within the firm, maybe even the entire employee base?
Absolutely. It's part of our security awareness training. So on an annual basis, you need to attest to the fact that you are upholding good information security practices.
Oh, that's great. Now, I know we've talked a little bit about what you have so far, but maybe you can describe some of the benefits that you've derived so far from using the solution.
Like I was saying before, it's repeatable. It's a much easier automated way of, since I'm the only one administrating the tool, we're taking a bunch of processes that were like spokes on a wheel, kind of disjointed, and then acting like MetricStream is the hub of the wheel at this point, so it kind of brings it all together in a centralized fashion. It'll be really great when we have a division of banking audit coming up soon, and it'll be great to be able to point to, look, this is how we manage our vendors, this is how we manage our risk. It's great for providing evidence, so I think that's going to be one of the biggest pieces of value.
Sure. And having that centralized repository of all that information also wrapped around security is a big benefit to you also.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it probably meets the internal standards and policies that you have within your firm.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I know we talked about and what we did in our implementation is we put everything in the cloud. Mm-hmm. And how's that seem to you?
I would recommend it for everyone. I've In a previous life, I managed an on-prem installation of a different GRC solution, and it was very difficult come time for releases and new upgrades to go through that. So now I'm looking forward to getting on M7 when we have all of our applications installed and just going through a quick and easy upgrade through your cloud platform.
Yeah.
And plus the security now, I mean, being a security expert that I am, the security, where once maybe 5 years ago I would not have thought the cloud was the more secure way of doing things, it's now the much more secure way of doing things than trying to manage it all on your own.
Yeah. Thank you. And we take great pride in our cloud.
Yep.
We've really made a lot of advancements and continue. As you know, we do a lot of investment in our product, in our service, in terms of innovation, research and development. There's just so much that continues to get built into the product, and that happens day in and day out. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we have over 400 plus type of people working on this every single day, and it shows. So
that's why I chose you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Now, as far as maybe your experience in the GRC industry, building a program or going forward, what kind of advice would you give to your peers as they maybe embark on one solution or 3 or 4 solutions, or however they want to put together a GRC program?
Again, when I was talking about looking at it from the lens of a malicious actor, you're always going to want to think about worst case scenarios when you build a program like this. Unfortunately, you kind of have to assume the worst in this landscape of cybercrime. You have to assume that someone internally could be the malicious actor. How are you going to thwart that? So the most successful information security programs, I think, focus on those kind of details.
That's interesting, and it's not going to go away. It's just going to continue.
No, and it keeps getting more complex as we go. One of the things I love about this industry is you have to keep up with the landscape and the new technologies that hackers or malicious actors would be using. So. Never a dull moment.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Well, Sean, I wanted to thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate that. I think that it was very insightful. I think the information that you're taking and using within your organization is going to be not only beneficial for your organization, but I think it also is a learning process for not only yourself but all your employees as you go forward.
Absolutely.
So, just want to thank you again for your time today. Again, everybody, that was Sean Davison from Great West Financial, Chief Information Security Analyst. And again, thanks for your time.
Absolutely.